What made Jungkook and Winter aespa take such a bold step after Calvin Klein's shocking controversy that even dragged Bangtan Hyuk into the storm? Fans are furious, confused, and left with one burning question: why now? What if the perfect image suddenly cracked in front of millions? What if the world's golden boy of K-pop, Jungkook, and the ethereal Winter from aespa decided to step into a storm that no one saw coming? Why would they risk their carefully built reputations just when Calvin Klein's controversy was burning hotter than ever, dragging Bangtan Hyuk's name into an avalanche of criticism? Are they fearless, reckless, or simply making a statement too bold to ignore? Before you rush to your judgment, pause for a second, watch closely, feel the tension, and ask yourself, if you were in their shoes, would you have done the same? Tell us in the comments, hit that like button, and don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss a single twist of this unfolding drama, because trust us, this is just the beginning. Narrative body, start of expansion, will flow toward 10 0+ words. In the high-stakes world of K-pop, where every glance, every step, and every brand association can set social media ablaze within seconds, decisions are never taken lightly. Jungkook of BTS, who already stands as one of the most recognizable cultural figures globally, recently found himself standing at the center of another storm. This time, he was not alone. Winter, the rising star from aespa, walked right into the same fire with him, and together they created a spectacle that fans, critics, and even industry insiders are still trying to decode. The drama began when Calvin Klein, a brand already synonymous with boldness, modern rebellion, and cutting-edge marketing, once again placed Jungkook at the forefront of their global campaigns. At first, it was seen as a triumph, a union of iconic fashion and legendary K-pop stardom. But as the weeks rolled on, the tone shifted dramatically. Controversy spiraled when Bangtan Hyuk, the founder of Hybe and a central figure in BTS's history, was suddenly dragged into an avalanche of criticism. Questions about the brand's strategies, their use of Jungkook's image, and the alleged behind-the-scenes pressures poured gasoline on an already volatile fire. Then came the twist no one predicted: Winter. As aespa's visual and a voice of Gen Z's unapologetic self-expression, her appearance alongside Jungkook in ways that many fans interpreted as more than mere coincidence raised eyebrows, ignited debates, and triggered emotions across fandoms worldwide. Why Winter? Why now? Why in the exact moment when Calvin Klein's name was becoming synonymous with outrage rather than admiration? Some called it reckless. Some called it genius. Others saw it as a dangerous gamble that could blur the boundaries between music, fashion, and scandal in ways K-pop has never seen before. But beyond the noise of trending hashtags and viral tweets lies a deeper, more complex story, one that asks whether global icons like Jungkook and Winter are truly free to make their own decisions, or whether every move is calculated by forces behind the curtain. Are they rebels making a statement, or pawns in a game too big for even them to control? But just when the noise around Calvin Klein seemed deafening enough, another wave of controversy erupted, proving that the story of Jungkook and Winter was far from a one-dimensional scandal. Fans began to dig deeper, uncovering connections, coincidences, and contradictions that opened new wounds across the fandom spectrum. The first explosive twist came from the whispers about brand favoritism. Calvin Klein's decision to double down on Jungkook while sidelining other ambassadors left many questioning whether the company was exploiting his fame at the expense of diversity. Some accused the brand of placing Jungkook under relentless pressure, while others asked whether Hyuk himself had influenced the move either to amplify Hybe's dominance in fashion or to silence critics questioning the label's creative stagnation. The result? A storm of divided opinions where fans clashed not just with the brand, but with each other, creating fractures that echoed across online communities. And then, as if the fire needed more fuel, the unexpected winter factor took an even sharper turn. A sudden surge of fan theories claimed that her involvement wasn't a coincidence at all, but rather a calculated strike against the unwritten rivalry between SM Entertainment and Hybe. Could Winter's appearance beside Jungkook have been a silent power play, a symbolic crossing of boundaries between two of the biggest entertainment empires in South Korea? Was this collaboration a rebellion or a subtle declaration of war in the industry's never-ending power struggle? Netizens didn't hesitate to throw accusations. Some SM fans called it betrayal. Others believed Winter was being used as a pawn in a publicity stunt engineered to distract from Calvin Klein's sinking reputation. But there were also those who passionately defended her, arguing that Winter, like Jungkook, was simply taking control of her own narrative, proving that idols could no longer be confined by the walls of corporate strategy. Just when the debate couldn't get any more heated, another scandalous angle emerged, this time tied to Jungkook's image itself. International tabloids picked up on the idea that his association with Calvin Klein, already criticized as overly sexualized, was pushing him into an identity crisis. Was he still the sweet, boyish idol fans grew up with? Or had he become a tool of Western fashion's obsession with shock value? The clash between the golden Maknae image and the bold Calvin Klein ambassador persona created an emotional whiplash for fans who suddenly didn't know how to reconcile the Jungkook they adored with the Jungkook now plastered across pun. Billboards in daring poses. For Winter, the controversy took on a more personal note. Commentators accused SM Entertainment of exposing her to unnecessary backlash by placing her in Jungkook's orbit at the peak of the storm. Was it sabotage? Or was it strategy? Was Winter's silence in the midst of the chaos a sign of strength, or a sign that she had no control over the situation? Fans demanded answers, but the silence from both agencies only deepened the sense of mystery. And then came the wildest speculation of all. Was this collaboration a coded message to Hyuk himself? Some online voices claimed that Jungkook's bold moves, combined with Winter's involvement, symbolized a subtle rebellion against the man who built Hybe, but was now facing some of the harshest criticism of his career. Could Jungkook really be biting the hand that fed him? Or was he simply carving out an identity bigger than Hybe, bigger than Calvin Klein, bigger even than K-pop itself? The controversies piled up like dominoes. Accusations of exploitation, whispers of interagency rivalries, debates about cultural identity, even conspiracy theories about industry sabotage. Each layer added more fuel to the fire, leaving fans emotionally exhausted, yet unable to look away. Just when fans thought the whirlwind couldn't get any more chaotic, another controversy crawled into the spotlight, this time involving the timing of Jungkook and Winter's appearance at New York Fashion Week. Critics and netizens began to question whether their presence at the event was truly about fashion, or if it was a staged attempt to hijack global headlines while Hybe and SM Entertainment fought for dominance in the international stage. The accusation that NYFW was used as a battlefield quickly went viral, and once again, Jungkook and Winter were unwilling pawns or fearless warriors, depending on who you ask. At the same time, whispers of fan manipulation began to circulate. Several online communities accused both agencies of deliberately exploiting fan loyalty to overshadow the backlash against Calvin Klein and Hyuk. Fans were enraged at the suggestion that their emotions had been weaponized, that their trending hashtags, their tireless streaming, and even their outrage were nothing more than tools in a marketing war. The sense of betrayal deepened as screenshots of alleged leaked schedules and private staff messages began circulating online, hinting at a carefully orchestrated strategy behind the unexpected duo spotlight. But perhaps the most incendiary controversy emerged when cultural critics entered the conversation. Jungkook's increasingly bold fashion campaigns, paired with Winter's involvement, sparked debates about the erosion of authentic K-pop identity. Some claimed that both idols were being stripped of their artistry and reduced to global brand symbols, accused of bowing to Western fashion's hunger for provocation rather than celebrating Korean creativity. Others fired back, saying that this was exactly what K-pop needed to evolve, to break free from cultural boxes, to stand shoulder to shoulder with international icons. The clash between preservation and progress turned the debate into something larger than idols. It became a cultural war. And then came the emotional dagger, the accusation of favoritism within fandoms. ARMY and MI's, aespa's fandom, suddenly found themselves in uncomfortable territory, with heated clashes erupting over whether Winter's involvement diminished Jungkook's spotlight, or whether Jungkook's shadow threatened to bury Winter's rising fame. Hashtags like Respect Winter and Jungkook deserves better began trending simultaneously, splitting communities that were once united in their admiration for their idols. It wasn't just about them anymore. It was about pride, hierarchy, and recognition in the ever-competitive world of K-pop fandoms. Adding another twist, Hyuk himself became the center of a darker narrative. Rumors spread that the mogul had been privately warned by industry peers that overexposing Jungkook could backfire, yet he allegedly ignored the caution in pursuit of brand deals and media dominance. Was Bang a mastermind pulling every string, or a desperate figure clinging to power as his empire faced its first serious cracks? The controversy painted him as both villain and victim, a man admired for building BTS, but accused of pushing Jungkook into the firestorm. The controversies spiraled further when fans started connecting dots to past incidents. Calvin Klein's history of provocative campaigns, SM Entertainment's own controversies with idol management, and even Hybe's strained relationships with rival labels. Suddenly, the Jungkook-Winter collaboration wasn't just about two stars. It became a symbol of everything wrong or everything daring in the K-pop industry today. As if fashion, politics, fandom wars, and Bang Si-hyuk's name being dragged into the storm weren't already enough, another wave of controversy suddenly burst open, this time tied to allegations of contract manipulation and idol overexposure. Industry insiders began hinting that Jungkook's repeated Calvin Klein campaigns and surprise pairing with Winter were not just creative choices, but obligations written deep into contracts negotiated under Hybe's supervision. The whispers suggested that what fans saw as bold artistic freedom might in fact be nothing more than carefully enforced obligations. For millions of fans who believe Jungkook's artistry is sacred, the thought of him being forced into roles he didn't choose felt like betrayal. Winter, meanwhile, faced a different kind of storm. Rumors of favoritism inside SM Entertainment surfaced, with critics arguing that her spotlight beside Jungkook unfairly sidelined her fellow members of aespa. Why was Winter chosen, and not Karina, Ningning, or Giselle? Was it her image that fit Calvin Klein's bold but ethereal aesthetic, or was there a deeper agenda, perhaps tied to the company's rumored negotiations with outside stakeholders? Fans of aespa were suddenly divided, some defending Winter's right to shine, others accusing SM of using her as a bargaining chip in a much larger game. Adding another layer, the controversy collided with the growing global conversation about idol privacy. Photos, behind-the-scenes clips, and fan-shot footage of Jungkook and Winter at Fashion Week sparked wild speculation about their personal relationship. Were they merely colleagues caught in the storm, or was there something more intimate happening behind the curtain? The idea of a secret connection sent the internet into overdrive, sparking chaos between fans who clung to fantasy narratives and those who simply wanted boundaries respected. What was supposed to be a professional collaboration suddenly became entangled with the most dangerous rumor in K-pop: dating speculation. The shockwaves only intensified when critics accused Bang Si-hyuk of turning idols into global commodities. Instead of nurturing Jungkook's music or Winter's artistry, detractors argued that he was selling their images to the highest bidder, prioritizing brand deals over genuine creativity. Was this the price of global stardom? Were idols like Jungkook and Winter destined to become nothing more than moving billboards, forever trapped between music and marketing? For some fans, the thought was heartbreaking, even enraging. And then came the most unexpected twist of all: political controversy. Nationalist voices in South Korea began criticizing Calvin Klein's heavy Western influence, accusing the brand of erasing Korean cultural identity by forcing idols into hypersexualized, Americanized images. Jungkook and Winter suddenly found themselves unwilling representatives in a culture war that questioned not only their choices, but the very direction of K-pop's globalization. International media, of course, framed it differently, praising the idols for breaking boundaries and pushing K-pop further into the global spotlight. The stark contrast in narratives between Korean press and Western outlets only deepened the polarization.